Hey everybody, DayTraderRockStar here. Fast update video going into Friday. Tomorrow is going to be Friday. Normally I'm doing my watch list on a Friday, and I will continue to do that. We have a nice, but I'm getting an early start on a Thursday night, and I also want to set you up for tomorrow. So let's take a look at the markets together and some other things. Now, actually, what you're looking at, the screen you're looking at right now is my screen. I'm actually at my house, but I'm using a what do you call like a team viewer type of thing where I'm checking it on my computers at the office, because I have my office, and this is one of the setups that I'm running, and I just want to give you a look. This is on a 55 inch screen, and I just capture a little part of it. I usually just capture this part right here, the ES and whatever stocks I put here, but the other stocks are just out of view. You don't see these, but I see these, and this goes over to two other monitors over to the right, and it goes to three on the right, one on the left. So I'm surrounded by monitors, and each monitor is set up like this with multiple stocks. So I'm able to watch the stocks, and I think that's important. I always kind of use that. I don't really show the back end too much, but just compared, when you're starting to see the overall markets, and the markets right now are actually heading a little bit lower. We're at the lows of the session, and the stocks are done trading for the day. They stopped at 8 o'clock after I was on the stock. So right now we just have the futures moving around. So I usually switch over to the bot channel. So I team viewer in and I switch things over. But just to kind of give you a little background on these, it's great to have multiple stocks that you're watching and stocks that you like to trade against the major averages. That way you could actually see if there's any relative strength or weakness in these stocks, comparing them one to one. And if they're in your line of sight, it's much easier to just compare, like, Oxy is pushing higher, market is pushing lower, Oxy is not dropping with the market. Does that tell me something? And it should tell you something. Little clues like that can only be seen if you have comparison of charts next to each other. So I just want to show you that's one of my screens, and then I'm actually going to go over to the Rockbot screen. This is the other monitor, has the Rockbot on it, and you can see, wow, look at that. Looks like around 8, just before 9 o'clock, it looks like there was a nice Rockbot divergence, and it went up, it took profits all the way up to 65. It looks like a fantastic divergence. It was also a super signal long, but the super signal long didn't get. Well, no, that was at 4 o'clock, and that was at 5 o'clock. So, actually, we had to go back at the 5 o'clock time frame, because this thing is very active here. And it looks like it did take first profit, second profit hit. But what is that from? Super signal long. Oh, I think it's just. Oh, there's the profits, and underneath it, you can barely see it, but it has the signal. Everything's on top of each other. So these actually did work out pretty good. It's just interesting, and that's how I have that set up in the short and stuff. But it's a very active day here. I'm looking at the 1 minutes especially. 1 minute setup. So I might watch this a little tonight. I told people if I get in the chat room, maybe we'll do some trading. But I want to switch that over. I want to go to my these monitors. That's another monitor I'm watching, and I'm just watching the after hour stuff on that. And then this, I want to switch over if I can. A couple other things. Watching the apron short. The tops here, pull back to 26. We'll go back here. All right, back here. Let's talk some markets here. Markets kind of ended flattish today. Didn't, had a nice run, pulled back, ended up being flat. Overnight markets are down 24 right now. And just to take a look at the SPX, you could see this is the hourly chart. This is going out for a few days now. And you can see there's definitely a consolidation here. Let's take a look at this. If we go out, other than that little kind of pop-up here, we could go all the way out here pretty far to see this tight range that's been playing out on the daily chart. Now we started to dip down on the daily. We held that trend. We held the trend line. I mean, it's just an area where the market here seems to be, it looks like a good pullback area, but I think a lot of people are expecting that, and the market's doing a good job of faking everyone out and continue to move higher. I'm actually bullish on the market right now. Bullish on the market. We have a tradeometer signal, a 1-minute tradeometer signal right now. I don't have that in front of me. See if I can pull that up on the channel here somewhere. Show it to you live. So but you know what? We've been really concentrating on a couple stocks, and that's what I wanted to talk about. It doesn't matter where the market's going, as long as you're in the right stocks, you know. All right, so here's the, looks like this is what's going on right here now. It just hit a target. The divergence. Look at this thing take off here. That's off of a nice divergence call. I got a lot of stuff running. That's why it seems a little blurry to you. But anyway, that's active right now. That's an active setup off of... and let's move on here. All right, so the S&P. So you know what? 50% retracement off the lows. Market was down 30%. Now it's down like 15%, 18%, you know, and mid-teens percentage. I think we can get, you know, move back up here 10%, 9% closer. People are going to scratch their heads. Shouldn't be, but you know what? Doesn't, you know, this will be over, especially when they get the a vaccine or some kind of treatment for this thing. Today we had a very big spike down in the market. I think it was right around here. It was here, and it dropped. We'll call it 40, and it dropped all the way down 98. So 40, about a 40-point drop. You know, maybe 35, 40-point drop. Then slowly melted down here, and this was because of news out of Gilead. Gilead's, you know, trial they're working on for the COVID-19 vaccine said it was leaked out that it failed, or it got it you know, they stopped it. And this thing, Gilead dropped hard. You can take a look at Gilead, G-I-L-D. Nice drop in Gilead. We went long here. I think we went long right around here, looking for a pushback up to 80. And I ended up getting out early. Like, you know, I just took $80 on it, and I said, all right, $80 for a fast trade, I'll take that. I think it was the right move, you know. This is what's going on after hours. Nothing's really going on, 78. Actually, this could go down a little bit further. You know, I'm not saying this thing can't go back down, but it's always a good overreaction. I thought maybe this news might even be fake news, and we had a nice bounce on it, so it worked out good. But that's what caused the market to drop. You know, that's what the market played its cards today. Showed its hand because it got bluffed into showing its hand. The market only cares about the vaccine. If the vaccine or some kind of cure or anything like that doesn't happen, that's, you know, as long as there's a hope, the market's going to continue to kind of hang around, maybe even move up, and we kind of work or buy that rumor, buy that vaccine rumor. And when that vaccine comes out, probably, who knows? I mean, of course, we're going to get a further pop. I don't know how far we're going to go, or where we're going to be at that time during that level. But right now, I still kind of bullish. I still think the market's trading in hopes of a vaccine. I think any positive news out of a vaccine is going to propel this market higher. But in the short term, I'm not really worried about it too much. Let's take a look at EXEL. We're in this one big. I've been buying it. It's the best bet for the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And it looks like another profit being taken here. And as you can see, 16 was our real go-to area. Oh man, what a divergence! And we knew that we were getting close to the phase 3 trial data readout and stuff, and they beat top line data, and really appeared to be good results. And the more people realize what this could mean for the company, I think the further this is going to move. And plus, I think it's a buyout candidate now. So the highs up here, 30 to 32. I think we get up there pretty fast. I mean, do we have follow through tomorrow? I think we got follow through tomorrow. Do we get through 27? I mean, it's hard not to sell, if you have a good, entry down at $16, $17. and you're getting 10 points on this, it's hard not to sell into this. So I know that's going to be a question coming up. Are you going to sell when you want to sell? The truth is, I do believe it's going to be bought out. I think it's going to be bought out sooner than later, and we're not going to have to deal with the issue of, hopefully, best case scenario, this thing gets a rumor, volume picks up. They did hire someone today, a paralegal. And we were just talking about it. I was talking about this to Steve, and what we'd be looking for. And the one thing would be a lawyer, an M&A lawyer and stuff. What just happened to be after hours, he sends me a text, and I look it up. Yep, they just announced they were looking for a paralegal, and I didn't look into it too much. I was on the road. I just looked at the headlines or, the job posting. And yep, sure enough. And they were hiring a lot of people. They're hiring a lot of people. All of a sudden. So, this looks really good. The hardest part is taking profits. So I'm going to hold on to it a little bit longer. I mean, 27 might, who knows, maybe take some calls off. I'll see. What? Still loving it. Still think it's one of the better ones. I'm so happy you got some good close friends and family into this, and it's just looking really good. So AUPH is another one, and like I said, it's not my favorite right now, but it's definitely has another compound that needs to be watched, and we're watching it. And I'm holding this position now to January calls on this, expecting some more good news this year. So we'll watch this. We're kind of in a 1, 2, 3 pattern. We broke down a Corona breakdown and we pulled back. See if we can hold this trend line. It's just a slow mover right now, so we'll continue to watch that. SMED. I like this one. I just want to go into this one again. It's a $7 stock. It has it does medical waste, and my theory is we've been focused on getting all this gear, getting all this disposable gloves and masks and gowns and stuff, and how important it is, and we don't have enough, so there's millions and millions and millions and millions. Well, this group right here cleans up infected waste material from hospitals and doctors. So you wonder, and they specialize in what do you call it, medical industry. Now there's also the CWST, was it? Casella Waste Systems. That's an HPS setup for this week, and that actually looks pretty good. It's a nice flag. It's an HPS setup, and what I mean by an HPS setup is if you go to the HPS, if you go into your dashboard, I'll just go up and you go to your dashboard on your in your account. You'll see this is where I put all the stuff up. You'll see the HPS watch list and how well it's been working. And there's a couple new ones on there I put on for this week, and we're going to have a whole new set of ones that are going to be added tomorrow. That's the one I do them. But there is some that are active. If they hit the yellow, that means it's already hit its profit target. Vive was one of the last ones. Let's take a look at something like that just to give you an example of what you're missing if you're not a member of Day Trading Radio. And we kind of give you where to buy the zone and the sell zone. It usually goes much higher, but the important part is the high probability zones and the stop. Everything's given to you before the trade happens. You could even automate this. But what's great about this is when these levels are hit, like the CWST, we talked about this as looking for a flag, looking at a nice breakout of a channel, so we want to buy it on the first pullback. We're kind of timing that. So it gives me an alert if the price comes down into my buy zone. I'll get an email alert and a text alert. Once that's alerted, it turns green, and it's alerted in the system. That means I'll get an alert if it's the profit zone, or I'll get an alert if it hits the stop, whichever one comes first. So it kind of keeps you in track, keeps you updated on the trade at all times. You don't have to take them. I don't have to take them, but they're good, usually real good trades. So I'm watching this one right now. It's right in our buy zone. I did overshoot a little. Again, as long as we had that 50% retracement, I think I was looking to get it. I just wanted to remember I put these alerts out to get the alert that it's in my area. Then I evaluate. If I could see, maybe there's a 50% retracement, brings us right down to here, 41. So yeah, it probably was a really good entry there. It's moving back up. I think we go higher. I mean, this is still active, and that's what you get for that. And then we got some new ones here, which I like. I really like the Fastenal. I want to take a look at that with you. And if you notice, one thing is that we usually buy buyers into quality names, but into pullbacks. So we already have the edge, and we know when we know how to buy on the divergence. Look at this divergence here, from this low to this low. Look at this, right there, and this from this low to this higher low. It was just a big one, and it took off. Now, if we could get a pullback to the trend line, maybe even possibly to an X marks the spot, anywhere back down here, it would be something I'd be interested in. So let's see where it is right now. We came down to a penny, I think. So my buy zone was 33.95, and this was, the low was 33.96. Holy crap! We missed it by a penny, and what we missed it by, that is bull. See, that's the issue there. You know, we can miss by a penny. I can't believe that we missed by a penny on this. That was the low, and anyway, and it started moving back up. Hopefully, it still comes back down here, or you could just use this in reference to where you should be taking that trade, or get in here, considering saying, all right, it did hit it. Maybe I'll get in, let it work out. But that's that. So we have some new ones. We're going to be doing that watch list tomorrow. That goes out to members. Tomorrow evening for the next week's trading. So look forward to that. And I can tell you that I'll do some updates on this stuff too. There's a couple other ones I like. They're going to be on the watch list. I still want to go over the Corning a little bit more. I think the Corning's set up nice. Just a nice base here. It's kind of inverted head and shoulders pattern, even though this is a little steep head, but it was a beautiful divergence. It just hasn't moved yet, so I'm watching them in this one. Brinker EAT still looking like okay, but the Budweiser will be a new one on the list too. We're in that one. That had a nice run today before pulling back at the end of the day. But like I said on the show today, excuse me, we accomplished a couple of things. It's okay. You could move up and close on the lows. Like here, this thing gapped up and then sold, closed on the lows, but the next day it moved a little higher. The next day it moved a little higher, pulled back. This one pulled back and then moved higher. The important part is watching those previous lows and previous highs. So it did put in a higher low, and that closing price actually closed above the closing price. The previous day we made a higher high. So you know what? That honestly looks still perfect. The stochastics are just set up perfectly. It might take a couple days of chop here before we start to rotate back up, but I'm liking this. Now, it's no Sam Adams, which came out with earnings today and sold off earlier in the day, but then reversed and now about to take out 52-week highs. So, I mean, that could be a momentum trade in itself, and it's more than 52-week highs. It's probably all-time highs, as far as I could say, yeah. So, I mean, that's huge right there. And considering, sports are not even around, they're doing good. Let's see what else we have. What I'm going to do also, about maybe a couple months ago, I went over and I made an IBD 50 list. I'm just going to go through them real fast, just to see where they look. These were quality names a few months ago. That were holding up really well. So I'm just kind of curious if they make, what they look like now. So this is from the IB50, probably about a month or two ago. So when I did have these out, they were up here and stuff before the Corona came out. Pump was on there. Let's see here. Well, that one really got crushed. Especially they all got hurt. I mean, what was once great. This is kind of interesting. The HXL, Aerospace and Defense, the way that thing is kind of digging a hole there. It's almost like a little coil, big coil stochastic starting to set up. I remember this one. That was holding up. All these were holding up. Remember BPOP, Popular Inc., Bank, Regional Bank? It was doing so well. How many do I have here? I have about 35 of them on 7. All right, so Genpack, all of them got crushed. I'm looking for the ones that have come back the best. EPAM Systems, Information Technology, back over to 200, and a nice consolidation. IIPR, Real Estate, General Real Estate. Look at the retracements there. Everything else looking the same. Team, there's one of my favorites. Look at that. That one held up good, holding above the 200, wants to go higher. I mean, you got to consider this one. Team. It's a recent IPO-ish. I don't know how many years this has been out. Well, maybe it's 2016. Wow, it looks strong. Remember that. Cadence Designs, that's very strong too. Viva, that's strong. PayPal is pretty strong. ServiceNow. Ubiquity. Ubiquity is a nice consolidation. What happened with this one? It took off so much. Was it going to be bought out or something? What was going on over here? This thing really ran. Got up about 200. Now it's down to 153. Let's look into that one a little bit more. Little panel. Real page. Coupa is the other one I like. Coupa. Planet Fitness. Who cares? Workday. Twitter. Fortinet's hanging in there pretty good. Xilinx. Alright, so that's it on that. Just wanted to go through those fast with you. So that's the Coop, the team. I'm going to give my software guy a call tomorrow. I'll reach out to him. And he works at a pretty big company. He uses a lot of software. I'll see what, who knows what to do. And they might not even be working. We'll see what happens. Alright, so last thing I want to do for you, and I think this is what I'm missing here. And I'm trying to say, well, I got to find something worthwhile going out. Very extended up here, 50% back into its, from that bounce. It's a huge bounce. Be very cautious. We're in the right stocks. Not worried about that, but I'm still searching for new stocks that are not too extended and stuff. I'm looking at the casinos. I'm looking at some of the restaurants. But then it hit me. I said, I haven't done a scan on the weekly divergences. And it would be a perfect opportunity to see weekly divergences set up now. Very easy to do that scan. I want to do that with you right now. I want to get my divergence scan. Because I have up here, you see here? These lane divergence here, engulfing candles. You see it's 0, 0, 0. There's a couple bearish engulfing candles. And 30 bar lows. And these are all formulas that I put together. I coded using their language, and just kind of trying to keep. I want to find the divergence. It's not perfect, but it works for me. I like it. It was one of my first things I was messing with. So this is from years ago. So I've always kept it here, and it kind of gives me a read on the market. Sometimes I'll have 20 or 30 divergences, and this is reading just the stocks off the S&P 500. But for like weeks now, I have not had I was wondering if it's not even working anymore. I said, what happened? It doesn't even work anymore. And the truth is, when I see these things line up, when you get the divergences all line up together, there's multiple ones, the market really acts well. It does move on those divergences. And the more divergences you have, the more setups there are. And, of course, you have a better chance of more things moving in the market. So I watch for that, and we haven't had any. So it's kind of slim pickings when we look at what we normally go for. But I haven't done a scan on the weekly. So these are all my scans that I always worked on. It's just they have a formula to go. Let me see if I could show you what they look like. It's pretty easy. You could add conditions, and these are you write your formula by price, low, it's kind of greater than, or whatever. You could put all kinds of things in there. But over time, I've worked on them. So I have a weekly scan here I worked on. Let me see if it's under weekly. Weekly oversold. I wonder if that was a divergence. No, that was just a weekly oversold. And most things, I want to see a weekly divergence. All right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for the 9-3 divergence. And I want to put it out. And we have a divergence right now on the bot channel. So what I'm going to do is go there and I'm going to actually scan. I'm not. This is a common stock, but I don't want the common stock. I want the S&P 500, which I'm not going to get any for. But I want to change this to weekly. And now let's see. Now we don't get anything on a 1 week either. Let's see. 5 minute. Definitely thought we might have a 1 minute. Let's take a NASDAQ. Let's make sure it's working. Let's go to U.S. stocks. Now let's take a look at the weeklies. Yeah, so that's yeah, the signals are coming in right, but I'm not seeing anything on the S&P 500 that gives us any good weekly divergences. Everything's flatline, nothing really good. And wow, another nice pop here. Market here just, I mean the bot here just tearing it up. Divergence just came in here and then boom. Same thing happened over here. Still has a trailing stop on it too. It's very blurry. Come broadcast. I'm sorry. It's very blurry. But you could get that. Day Trading Radio. That's where you want it. That's where you get it. And let's go back here. Let's get my things up here. All right. So that's going to be it. I want to get this out. I want to get this out to you before it's too late. This is for tomorrow. Hopefully you find some, some knowledge out of this, and some of these will be on the watch list tomorrow. You'll be getting a whole new watch list tomorrow. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow in the chat room.